So again, I know that this is all about do-it-yourself PR, and so what I'm trying to do is teach you some of the things that we teach our publicists, because I mean, this is stuff that people go to school for, and then they even get on-the-job training. And so I kind of felt bad. I was telling my publicists, they're like, "Oh, what are you doing in your event?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm teaching them how to be their own publicist," and it's kind of like insulting their whole life, So basically, David, you're going to take my whole career and you're going to teach it to them in 4 hours. All right, great, thanks. You make me feel really good about what I do for a living, So obviously, it's there's a lot more to it, but there are some things that you can kind of learn pretty quickly that you can apply. That you can do things fairly easily. Technically, Martha's a client of ours. I mean, we're actively out there pitching and working on things for her. So she might not care. Like, why do I care about doing it myself? I've got you doing it for me. So we've got some clients down here, but still understanding the method behind that. We do run into these things all the time that I'm telling you about. Having a good website, having stuff that looks good. So I just want to do just a real quick recap and review because it helps you guys remember more things. Anybody here want to retain more of what we're teaching here? Okay, so we'll just do a real quick recap. It'll help you do that. And then I've got somebody else that I asked to come down and share something really quick with you as well. So breakthroughs. Any breakthroughs? Anything that you've heard you really liked, kind of changed the way you looked at something? You might be looking into your notes. Something that's been helpful here. Something you have, yeah.
Yeah, the idea of not just being a guest on a show, but being a guest expert.
Yes.
They can call back.
Big thing, guys, being a guest expert. One of the other things that being a guest expert is so powerful is because, again, it's not really about you. It's about you helping the show, helping the producer. Every time they want to talk about a topic, get them to come to you. And you can have a couple different topics. You can have more than one thing they might go to. Like Janine Turner, who I was telling you about. I mean, this is a woman who's an actress. She's a radio show host. She might get on there and talk about politics. She might get on and talk about a new movie that she was in. When she was on there last time, right before me, on Fox and Friends, she was talking about overcoming alcoholism and kind of the things that a lot of celebrities deal with. And they were kind of asking her about, depression, things like that. People might say, well, gee, that's kind of a weird thing. That's not really your brand, so to speak. But, her brand is life experience. Her brand is advice. She's a great communicator. And when you can come across as a great communicator in the advice business, you can be somebody on the Rolodex that'll bring back to you, time after time. So good point. Yeah, really think about how do I become a guest expert? Someone that can be interviewed, someone that can be asked a question, and given an intelligent answer in a succinct amount of time. Other comments, breakthroughs, things that, yeah, Daniel.
Why you?
Yeah.
Why are you different?
Yeah. Guys, we're doing this all the time. Why should I book you as a speaker at the event? Why should I book you on the show? Why should I hire you to help me? Why you, why you, why you? We really do have to answer that. And sometimes we're not even competing with somebody else. We're competing with doing nothing. I think that's kind of CPA thing. Sometimes it's not a matter of a different CPA. It's just I might just do nothing at all and just keep doing whatever it is I have been doing. Okay, so we're also just trying to get them to convince them why they're going to do something different. So yeah, why you? Sit down there and make a list. I sent out an email a little while ago where I talked about a really fun way to answer the question, why you? And we will do things like the top 10 reasons why people listen to fill in the blank. The top 10 reasons why people hire fill in the blank. When I was CEO of Guerrilla Marketing, that was stuff I used to do for Jay Levinson all the time. The top 10 reasons why people listen to Jay Levinson. And we'd have all this crazy stuff. When I first started doing that for myself in 2009, I could only come up with 4 things. I was like the top 4 things, the top 4 reasons. Now I have lots of them, so I'm trying to pick out like the best ones. Top 10 reasons why people hire David Fagan. He's been featured on all this media. He's won these awards. He's written these books. He's worked with these clients. He's been able, on and on and on. So think about that sometime. Write down what it is for you. What are the top 10 reasons why someone would hire you? What's the top 10 reasons to interview you? And if you can't make 10, take the 3 best or the 4 best or the 5 best. There's nothing wrong with that. It's better to have less, right? Remember, it's better to have less, and they be good ones, than remember to try to make something out of nothing. Nobody likes it when you try too hard. The art of being cool is acting like you don't care if you're cool. Any other breakthroughs or comments? This is good. Yeah, Martha.
Starting with your company website, but then having a personal one once you start.
Yeah.
Up and stuff.
Yeah. Can I share our experience?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So Martha, we decided really to focus on PR because she was already getting good press. She's gotten more good press for herself than we've gotten for her so far. But one of the things that we were concerned about was her website. It was just really basic. She just hadn't really needed it. She is such a pillar in her community. Everybody just knows her. But when we're going to other people to tell them about her to get her on the media, some of the bigger media that we would like to see her on, that we think that she's very worthy of, what are they doing? They're going to the website, and it's just, was it built a long time ago, or was it built by?
It was built a long time ago. It was just something to get up
Yeah,
there.
and something is better than nothing. So it's great that she did it. We find successful, like guys, do a bad book. Do a bad website. Even that's better than nothing. But as you go on, improve it. Yeah, and so I think that is definitely something that we learned there. So we kind of took a step back, and I was like, Martha, we're going to help you with this. We're going to just do this, and so we've started building a new website for her. And I think it's really gonna help, because what we're trying to say is, hey, she's such a success, and look, her business is growing. Well, if she's such a success, why doesn't she have a better website? And it's just she just hasn't done it yet. It's just she has so many things she's doing. She's traveling to Vegas to accept awards and be a part of institution. No, you don't want to say that? Okay. She's still kind of bashful. But yeah, that's a big part of it. Anything else? These are good. Kind of a quick recap here a little bit. Recap some things in here. Anything else really stuck out to you? Any major thing you want to go change? Yeah.
The short and long bio.
Yeah, short and long bios. And I'll put the bio in the same conversation of what I was just saying about making a list of what your top 10 reasons why people hire you, top 10 reasons why people listen to you. Those type of things can be really good as well. Something I was talking about earlier today, it's a small digression, but I'll tell you something else too, is when you're answering the question, why you, and people are shopping you, like someone might come to me and say, okay, David, thank you for telling me about your PR services. I'm going to talk to other PR companies. Or, hey, so-and-so, thank you for telling me about the way you build websites. I'm going to talk to some other companies, whatever. When you do that, you can say to them, well, look, let me give you some questions to ask them. Here, I got 5 questions you should ask everybody you talk to. Okay? So what you're doing is you're picking the questions that are going to make you look best. And not only that, but you're giving how you would answer the question. Does that make sense? So if they say, yeah, I'm going to go shop real estate agents, thank you for talking to me. Okay, well, I got 5 questions you need to ask every real estate agent you ever talk to. Number 1, I'd ask them how many transactions they did in the last year. This is important because the more transactions they do, the more things they've seen, the more experience they've had, the less likely you're going to have pitfalls. Now, if you ask me that question, I'd let you know I've done over 100 transactions in the last year and a half. See what you're doing? 1, they're going to ask that question, and then, so then 2, you're going to say, okay, the next question I would ask them is, do they do such and such? And if you ask me that, I would tell you I do it like da 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 da. So if somebody says, yeah, I'm kind of shopping PR companies. What I might say? Okay, I got 5 questions. And first of all, you're an author, so when you talk to a publicist, ask them if they've ever written a book, because that's going to be really important to you. Because you ask me that question, I've written 7 books, okay? On top of all the other authors I've helped them with. Okay, next thing you want to ask them what kind of software that they use, because we subscribe to a very professional software service, very expensive. It's called Cision. So it gives us every contact you can ever imagine. So in addition of going out there and finding contacts, I literally have a software system that I pay a lot of money for, and I can just pull up whoever you want, whoever you need at any given time. If they don't have that, they're not going to have these contacts at their fingertips. That's going to make a big difference. See what I'm doing? I'm helping them become a more educated buyer, and I'm not trying to trick them. But I'm also letting them know how I would answer those things, and so how good it would be. Next thing, okay, so you're looking for a great publicist, right? Okay, ask your publicist how many times they've been on television. Because a lot of times publicists, they might kind of know about getting you on, but they may not really know how to, really coach you or train you. I've been in Forbes twice in the last year. I was on TV just 2 weeks ago on Fox and Friends. I know how to get a soundbite across in a really short amount of time that can be really valuable for you. So just ask them that. See what I'm saying? I've had people where I've gone down the list and they're like, never mind, let's just get started. Never mind, just send me a contract. Now that's the exception, that's not the rule. But I mean, it could happen. It has happened. So whatever your business is, or it could be just booking you to be a speaker. Yeah, we're going to talk to a few other speakers. Okay, well, just do this. Just make sure you ask them these 5 things, because I want you to have a good speaker. Maybe it's not me, maybe it's somebody else. But sometimes, you're putting on a new event and you haven't done this before. It's a new kind of event, or you want to get more people than you had last time. Just ask them these 5 things. Ask them these 6 things. Ask them these 3 things. And if you asked me, here's how I would answer it. Do you see how that's good? Makes sense, right? You're adding value to them. And you're also making them look at how you look the best. Like, if we're going to play that game, let's play my game. Let's do my 5 questions. Make sense? All right, so that's good. That's helpful. Okay, so we're going to take a quick digression from the PR conversation, and I really only have one main other speaker. There's a few people here that I might interview a little bit because I think you guys can get some things out of them. But there's really only one other speaker that I have here today that I asked to come in and give a short presentation, because I believe the topic is very important, because I'm teaching people a lot of things and they're not always accomplishing as much as what you might want. I want to see you guys accomplish things. I want to see you guys apply things. I want to see you guys implement things. So I asked Chris Alley, who's somebody who I've worked with, a friend of mine, has been a client of mine.
So today we're going to talk about accountability, and I'm really happy to be talking about it because as a coach, of course, I believe wholeheartedly in accountability, and it really is what is going to make it or break it with your success and with achieving your goals and your bigger plans and your bigger dreams. And the accountability has to be there. And I know that for different people and different organizations, accountability can mean different things. And so what we're going to talk about today is personal accountability. And personal accountability is really about valuing and honoring your bigger goals and commitments. So it's making the commitment to do whatever it takes to achieve your goals and bring those bigger dreams to fruition. And it's really about being responsible for your actions, right? So for doing what you say you're going to do and seeing it through so that you can make really big things happen. And so what I'm going to actually share with you today is just with my work, with working with other entrepreneurs and other business owners, I've kind of seen a few trends, like what David was just talking about, how people have the best intentions, especially coming to an event like this. You're learning lots of stuff. You're excited to get back and implement. Well, what happens that prevents people from actually implementing and putting things into place and being held accountable? So I'm going to share with you 6 of those factors that I've seen. Does that sound good?
Yes.
All right. So you can tackle them and avoid them and move through them. So the first is limiting beliefs, and this is such a big one. We could probably spend weeks on this topic. It's important to realize that, our beliefs are passed down from generation to generation, and it's usually coming from, caregivers or parents or other influential people in our lives, and those beliefs are being passed down to us, and we're usually just accepting them to be true. And what can happen is, I've worked with a lot of people where there's a lot of stuff around self-worth that comes up, right? So if you're not feeling worthy or you're not feeling deserving of having the success level that you want, it's going to prevent a block. And it's actually going to affect the way you see things. There could be an opportunity right in front of you that you're not even going to see. And that's because of that limited thinking. And it could be the smallest thing that happens when you're little. Someone could say something, I've just heard it be like the smallest thing that someone will say, an adult or a caregiver, that will start having the child think that they're not good enough, they're not smart enough. I know I, myself, in grade 9 had a teacher that said I needed to drop down a science level, which, if you haven't figured out by now, I'm from Canada. The outs and abouts didn't give it away. And, you know, I had a science teacher that said I needed to drop down. I wasn't doing well in grade 9 science. And in Canada, if you didn't stay in advance the whole way through, you couldn't go to university. In my family, it was all about going to university. And so it's a good thing that I also have a very strong will, and I said, you know, the heck with you, I'm gonna do it anyway. And so that determination enabled me to plow through. I stayed in advanced science, I got good grades, I went to university, all of that stuff. But that voice stayed with me. So whenever, you know, it's dulled a little bit, but whenever I'm going to do something new, there's that voice of, am I smart enough? Am I good enough? And it stays with you. So unless you're aware of it, it can actually sabotage you. And so those things, when we're younger and when we're older, anytime we have an emotional reaction to anything, it automatically goes into our subconscious. And our subconscious is designed to keep us safe. And so it wants to keep us comfortable and where we're safe, and of course growing and running a business, we're putting ourselves out there, and that's scary and that can be risky. So unless you're aware of some of those underlying beliefs that are in there, because our subconscious is like the operating system for how we run our lives and how we make decisions. So if we're not aware of some of those beliefs that are in there that are dictating how we're seeing the world and how we're making decisions, it literally will sabotage our success. So the first thing is to look at, you know, where do those beliefs come from? What's going on a deeper level? And I wanted to share a quick fun story. Has anyone heard the story about the ham in the pan? No, you have? Okay, great. So for the rest of you, so there's this cute little story. So there's a wife who's cooking a ham, and she cuts the ends off the ham. And she says, and her husband says, why do you cut the ends off the ham? And she said, I don't know. My mom did it that way. So then they go to her mom and say, why do you cut the ends off the ham? She said, I don't know. My mom did it that way. So they go to the grandma and ask the same question, why do you cut the ends off the ham? And the grandma says, because the pan was too small. So that had been passed along generation to generation, that's how you cook a ham, right? And it was just accepted to be true. So it's the same with money beliefs, you know, you name it, it's the same thing. So it's really important to look at what those beliefs are and how you're making your decisions. Because you may have the best intentions of getting something done, but if your beliefs are off, then you're not going to do it, and you're going to find every other excuse in the book to not do it. So that's the first one. The second one is overwhelm. So I see a lot of business owners, and I used to be in this place too, where, you know, you're overwhelmed with everything that you've got going on. There's so many moving pieces with running a business, and you know, it's taking you away from focusing on the right revenue generating activities. And I strongly believe that sales is one of those top revenue, if not the top revenue generating activity. So I love what David's teaching about the marketing and generating leads, but you still have to have a sales conversation with people and convert them into a paying customer. So most of your time should be focusing on making sales calls and having a team and support in place to help you with the other details that are involved with running a business. So even if you're just starting out and have one client, I always say to my clients, hire someone after you have even one client, a virtual assistant or some other type of assistant that can help you. If you're further along with building your business, then you want to make sure you have a great team in place so that you can be doing what you need to do. The third is rules. Almost forgot there. Rules. So this all goes back to beliefs too. We set all of these rules and parameters for ourselves of how we need to do things and the way we need to do things. So a great example is making sales calls. And I used to be like this. I know some of my clients were the same way, that they needed to have this quiet environment. There couldn't be any background noise. I think for me that came from my corporate days with having this, pristine office and everything being just perfect before getting on the phone. So I know that was a rule that I had to overcome, that it doesn't matter, just make the calls, right? You want to be set up for success. Don't let those rules dictate and sabotage your success. Who's seen the movie Jobs? I love that movie. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that. But he's working out of his garage with his team and friends.
Don't watch that before you go sailing with me. Normally do it afterwards. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Martha had some trouble on the way through things. Jaws. It really ruined her sailing experience.
That's true. And I've been sailing on that trip
Say
too.
Jobs or Jaws?
Jobs.
Oh, that's a job.
Jobs. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, there's a connection.
I'm listening, David. I'm listening.
Jaws too.
I'm like, did you go
She
sailing?
said Jobs.
Jaws.
We know where you are. He's out of the ocean.
Everything's back to the sailing.
I totally did. I heard Jaws. I thought
Say
Well, I know you love the beach and stuff. I thought you were gonna tell people about you were like being a shark or something. I thought you were really interesting.
You're busted, David.
As you were.
Jobs.
He's on the sailing
with
boat.
B. So in that movie, I love that, he starts off working, putting everything together from his parents' garage, right? And I just love the part where he's trying to make things happen. He's in the backyard. They have one of those old phones, right, with the cord, and he's pulling it out, dragging it out into the backyard, and making all of these sales calls. And I thought, that is so awesome. So, there doesn't have to be all these rules around how we do things and how we operate, because those rules go back to our beliefs, and they're really, there to keep us safe, right? Again, with the subconscious, and are going to essentially sabotage our success. So really look at those rules that you've created for yourself and, why they're in place. I remember a long time ago, I was, we had just moved to California from Canada. I was getting the house, set up, the kids settled, so I dropped down with how many clients I had. And I remember doing all of these like crazy things around the house and trying to get everything handled. And one day I said to my husband, like, what do you expect of me when you go to work and you come home? And he was like, just that the kids are safe and fed. I was like, oh, that's it? Like, who's putting all this pressure on myself? It's me. So look at what are those rules, what are those expectations that you're putting on yourself. What are we on? 4? Blame. Oh my gosh, this is a big one. If you can take anything away from this talk today, I would say it's this subject matter. And know that everything that's happening in your life is a result of you. So taking 100% responsibility for every single thing that's happening in your life is huge, whether it's good or bad. And, just touching on some of the spiritual laws of success, one of them is cause and effect. So for every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. When you really get deeper into looking at this and analyzing it and studying it, it's the cause is always your thinking. Always, always, always. So if something's not going right in your life, if you don't have the results that you want, anything that seems negative at all, look back to what the thinking is behind it. So it's limited thinking that's holding you back. This is, even if it seems like the other person, if there's been a situation, someone's done something terrible, and it looks like they're completely at fault, try to find that 1% of your part in it. So how are you responsible? And it might even be as simple as it's showing up in your life because there's a lesson, it's providing you with an opportunity to grow, there's something that you need to learn to do, and you really want to find that. They talk about the silver lining, and you might not see it right away, but know that it's there. So it's showing up for a reason. You've attracted it, you've manifested it, it's a result of your thinking. So really look at that as well. And you know, my husband and I were talking about this last night. I was sharing with him what I was going to be speaking about today. And he's still in corporate America and, you know, runs a big team. And he was telling me how all the managers are blaming each other for things, mistakes that are happening. And we were just talking about how, you know, that really comes from a fear-based mentality where we're afraid to get in trouble and we're afraid to make mistakes. And if you look at where that started from, you know, it happens when we're little. We don't want to fess up to something to our parents because we're afraid we're going to get in trouble, right? And what is the bigger cause or the bigger reason there is because we don't want them to stop loving us. So when you really start to dig these things out, you can see, you know, how we're taught in society really to blame other people. So we need to look at taking responsibility for every single thing that's happening. And again, if the results aren't where you want them to be, then you need to look at what type of thinking is preventing you from being who you need to be so you can get the results that you want to have. The next one, the fifth one, is lack of commitment. And so really, you know, not, I want to say not being who you need to be, but also breaking your commitments. So, you know, not showing up the way you need to be, breaking commitments with yourself, your team. You know, think about if you have a team and you have staff, if you're not showing up fully and you're breaking your commitments and you're not doing what you say you're going to do, that really, you know, trickles down. And then the next thing you know, your company has a bad reputation, they're not credible. I know that's something that I look for when I'm gonna partner with people, is how do they show up for their commitments? Are they in integrity? And I just won't do business with people that aren't. So that's really important. And you know, it's really about making the commitment to yourself to achieve your goals and doing what needs to happen. Maybe you're tired, maybe you're not feeling well, it doesn't matter. If you have a goal, you need to stick to it and do everything possible to make it happen. And then the last one is free coaching. So, you know, I might be a bit biased here, but I have to say that anybody I know that, you know, has said, well, I'll just, you know, have some coaching from a friend, and I know a friend who's a coach who's going to help me out, that I haven't heard of that ever ending well. So I definitely don't recommend that. If you think that's what's going to hold you accountable, then I would really argue that you're wrong. And the other thing is free mastermind groups. I definitely think some people can be successful and it can hold some people accountable. But if you look at those people who are having success with it, they are really the ones that are go-getters, they're determined. You know, they don't need a mastermind group to make things happen, right? So I really don't recommend anything free. I think something happens, whether it's right or wrong, but when you invest in, you know, a mentor or a coach or a mastermind group, whatever that looks like, the money piece actually holds you accountable. So the stakes are higher, you're really gonna do what you need to do to make stuff happen, and you're more apt to, you know, be accountable and do what you need to do to hit your goals. So those are the 6 kind of trends, I guess I would say, that I've seen that hold people back from being accountable. And you know, it works when you stay committed, when you make the commitment to yourself to do whatever it takes, to get the support you need to do it, to tackle all the issues. It's not just about learning the strategy, it's digging out what's holding you back, those beliefs and some of the other things we've talked about. You really can create, you know, whatever you want to create. And that's, you know, your ideal lifestyle, that's your bigger business goals, doing what you love, you know, and I've been able to make some really big things happen by doing what I say I'm going to do and committing to those goals and not stopping and persevering. You know, we made a huge dream come true. I was telling some of you on the break, with moving from Canada to California, and more recently to the beach. It was always the beach that I wanted to get to, and we were inland for 4 years and just made it down to the beach. Beach, for those of you who know about visas. You can't just pick up and move. So that was a huge thing that we made happen. And, building a high six-figure business too, by not giving up, by persevering, being held accountable. And my boss can be a real, pain in the butt sometimes. She makes me work for it. So, it's possible for you too if you hold yourself accountable, have that support system in place. You really can achieve anything that you want to achieve. And, so I would think about, as you're sitting here and David shared some awesome strategies and you're excited and, all fired up to get back to your office to implement everything, what do you need to have in place to be accountable? So really think about that. You want to be set up for success. So how are you going to be accountable with the tasks and the to-dos that you've mapped out from here today? Because, I've seen that happen so many times where people, entrepreneurs, business owners will go to an event, they're psyched, they're so excited, and then they'll get back and they don't implement anything. So how are you going to hold yourself accountable to what you map out? I mean, first of all, you need to know what you're going to map out, have clarity around that plan, and then how are you going to stay accountable to that? What needs to change? And, with some of the things we talked about with beliefs and rules and behaviors, what do you need to let go of in order to be able to achieve the results that you want? What do you need to adopt? What do you need to add in? What needs to shift? What needs to change? So, think about that. I don't think we have time right now, but maybe before you even go, take a serious look at what needs to change in your environment and in your thinking in order to stay accountable and do what you say you're going to do. So for those of you who want to, connect with me further, Tara's going to pass out some forms there, and I told David that I would offer everyone a 30-minute clarity session, clarity call, I call them, which I don't really do that often anymore, but I'm happy to do that for all of you and get on the phone. People have had some really great results with just one phone call. Someone the other day was able to clear up an anxiety block she'd had for 6 months that was preventing her from doing what she needed to do. And someone else was able to dig out a self-worth issue. He started charging more and tripled his business. So definitely take advantage of that. I'm also giving out an ebook that I have coming out that's all about spirituality and sales, and where I get more in depth about having that type of a sales conversation. So feel free to check off the box if you would like that too, and my team will make sure that you get a copy. So I hope that was helpful. Thanks for having me.
So we work with some great people, and a big part of these events is always just trying to connect you. So definitely worth just getting on the phone with Chris and just talking to her, seeing if there's things that there's a match. You might also know of other people that are a good fit for her, and she might know of other people that are a good fit for you. So definitely something worth doing. As you guys are taking a look at those and filling those out, which is great, we can hand those again at the next break. So there'll be time there. Chris, you'll be here till the evening?
Yeah.
Okay. So she'll be here to talk to her a little bit later. So we're going to do a couple different things I think will be fun. Just have some other people that I'm going to interview a little bit later on, talk about kind of like their book and how they're self-promoting it and what they've done. And we'll do a little bit of that later. But I kind of want to talk right now about brand. What does really brand mean to you? And my favorite definition of brand is my definition of brand. And my definition of brand is it's the sum total of all the experiences you've ever had with a person, place, or thing. So for example, if you have had a terrible experience with a certain company, a terrible customer service experience with that company, then in your mind, they have a bad brand. And if enough people have a bad experience, an ongoing bad experience, their brand becomes bad. If people continually have good experiences, then the brand is good. And even a place can have an experience, meaning everything that you've ever, so even a place can have a brand. So like Las Vegas. If I went around the room and I said, what do you think of when you think of Las Vegas? You might say a little bit different things, but we would all kind of come up with similar themes. Why would we come up with similar things? Because we've watched the same movies and television, we've been there and had some of the same similar, well, I know a few of you guys just get pretty crazy in Vegas, so maybe not totally similar experiences, but fairly close experiences in Vegas. So it's going to feel the same. That is the brand. The brand is based on those experiences, right? China has a brand just because of everything you've been exposed to, everything you've experienced on the news and in the media and television and movies and whatever, okay? So a brand is all about what people experience. So remember, when you get up and you get interviewed, people are going to experience you. And you want to make sure they experience you the way that you want, the way that's going to maybe cast you in the best light. Now, when I say cast you in the best light, that doesn't mean, only talk about all the good things that have ever happened. Okay, there are some people that's all they ever want to do. Sometimes journalists, they want to be hard-hitting. They want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you're going to try to get on there and make everything, seem perfect, that's not typically what they're looking for. So keep that in mind. So think about the things that you can share that maybe don't cast you as being perfect, but yet, you learn from them, you survive them. I have a thing I call lessons I learned the hard way. Right? I can give you a whole talk of lessons I learned the hard way. I just have a series of subject matter that I can just go down. Media, they love it when you talk about lessons you learned the hard way. Oh man, jeez. Sally, you'll never believe it. This is what happened. Oh man, I'll never do that again. Look, I'm speaking from personal experience here. Not only has this happened to my clients, it's happened to me, and it's never going to happen again. Here's what we've done. So don't be afraid to do that, to talk about that. That's it's a great way also to turn a negative into a positive. We had a client. You ever heard of Cliffside Malibu? What's Cliffside Malibu? Rehab. Yeah, it's a Cliffside Malibu client, right? So not only do we have the normal contract, I have a lot of other things I signed with Cliffside Malibu to protect the identity of the people that are in rehab there. Okay? And so we'd go out there, publicists would go out there, we brought CNN out there, and so we know about people that are in there, so we can't ever say anything about them, okay? And last year in December, they were doing really well last year. One of the reasons why they did so well is because Lindsay Lohan on public TV in court on public record while trying to convince everyone that she was doing her part. She says, look, I'm in rehab, I'm in Cliffside Malibu, whatever. So they can't say anything, I can't say anything, but she can say that. So she did. So they got some great press out of that. Well, anyways, there was another client who just left there, and it was on Fox. It was on Fox that he just left there. This famous boxer. And so people start to tear apart this boxer and rehab, and these people have so much money and they don't know what to do with it, they get themselves into trouble or whatever. And so I want to celebrate my client. I always want to celebrate my client. And I also wanted to celebrate this famous boxer. So I write this article and I say, hey, he gets hit, but he keeps getting back up again, and we should celebrate the people that want to make a change and the service that my client provides. It was just a great article. It really wasn't about me, it was about them. I mean, it did say that they're my client, so. Well, sure enough, the next day, I'm getting lit up on my phone from the legal department of Cliffside Malibu. And I'm getting ready to go on stage and speak at an event. So I get on this phone with this attorney, chief legal counsel. He's just really mad. And I'm just letting him vent. And he's like, and I said, I don't understand what really happened. And he's like, well, why don't you tell me what you think happened? And I said, look, here's what happened. Fox News put out this article. Says, like, first paragraph, Cliffside Malibu, he's from Cliffside Malibu, people were attacking him, I wrote this article, and then he said, David, did you read the whole article? I said, yeah, I think I did. I guess I read the whole article, right? my wife already knows I didn't read the whole article. I'm a skimmer, right? I'm not a detail person. Right? Well, at the bottom of the article, it said, Cliffside Malibu neither confirms nor denies the stay of this person at the place. So by me writing that article, I confirmed that he was there. So he explains to me, he's like, this is terrible. He's like, we got to fire you. We got to get indemnification. We got to fire you, everything. And I said, well, is he upset? He goes, no, he's not upset. He even told them, he's the one who did the story. He put the piece out. But it doesn't matter. We didn't confirm or deny it, and now you just did. And so now we have to, so I got fired from a client that was 6 figures a year. It was on Friday, December 13th. You want to know why I know that? It was my birthday. On my birthday last year, I got fired and lost 6 figures in one day. I filed that under lessons I learned the hard way. So how do I make that better? I try to tell it situations like this. I try to turn that negative into a positive. Right? And I don't go around saying, hey, I'm perfect, I never do anything wrong. There are times where I've been able to use that story and it's self-effacing. It doesn't necessarily make me look good, but it doesn't necessarily make me look bad either, because I'm up here and I'm saying it, I'm sharing it in the right light. The media loves that kind of stuff. When you can be self-effacing, when you can be authentic, when you can be real. I'm not saying it should be this way, but you can do just about anything. You can commit just about any crime you want. And if you just say you're sorry, overall, the American public will forgive you. I can point to countless politicians, countless celebrities. They admit to all kinds of things, and we forgive them, pretty much, most part. As a whole, maybe not individually, as a whole, we forgive them. But to try to be something you're not, to try to deny that, not to own up to it, to act like we're perfect or whatever. So just remember that in the media. You can turn those losses, you can turn those heartaches, you can turn those lessons you learned the hard way into something positive. This is a rhetorical question, but rhetorical, that means you don't answer it. But who else here has lost $100,000 in one day? It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. But the idea is, just remember, people want the brands to be real. So are the experiences real? I was having a conversation the other day with somebody in this room about being overly positive. Some people think it's great to be positive all the time. I just want to be positive. I want to make everyone laugh. I want to make everyone smile. I just want to be overly positive. What's the problem with an overly positive person?
It's disingenuous. It's not honest.
Well, it may not be disingenuous, but it can come across like that. Somebody can truly be positive all the time. I know people that are positive all the time, but when you're positive all the time, it loses its potency. Then when you really are positive, it doesn't necessarily connect. You want to help someone, you want to make someone feel good, tell me what you think, and you say, no, I think it's great, and then they think, yeah, but you always think things are great. You know what I'm saying? We have to have the good with the bad. It's okay to be like, fired up about this right now. I'm kind of upset about this right now. I mean, I'll tell people on the phone. Sometimes it kind of freaks people out a little, because I'm like, look, I'm a little fired up right now. You're kind of upsetting me what you're telling me right now. And I think that's how I speak. I think out loud, and I'm telling you, I walk them through the process, and I believe in tapping raw emotion. Raw emotion is a gift. Tap it, harness it, use it, leverage it. It's, authenticity is when you're really good at being you. You're really good at being yourself. So don't think that, now the truth is, also the other thing's true. How many people know of somebody on Facebook where like every time you look at their post, it's just like so terrible and so depressing, and it's just like you don't know if this person's going to be on top of a building or something like that, so they're going to be standing on a ledge if it keeps going like this. But it's always like that, and it just keeps going and going and going, and it's just, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say, it's tough. So the point is real life is filled with ups and downs, and so to a certain degree, share those. The media wants you to share those. We talked about the types of things that people want on TV. I'm just going to do it really quick. I have a slide on this, but But basically, they want something that's newsworthy, and they want somebody who's an expert, then they also want somebody who's fascinating and intriguing. If you're boring, they don't want boring people on television. They don't want boring people on radio. You can be kind of boring and make it into print. Because they can write you in an exciting way. They can use a lot of exclamation points, all right? But on radio, television, it's not going to work. Okay, so you got to be real. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but if somebody wants to interview you, they will typically interview you before they interview you. Okay, so they're going to interview you over the phone before they interview you on television, before they interview you on radio. Because they're going to see how you do. I've had clients kind of shrug that off like it's already in the bag, I'm going on TV, they want to ask me questions. No. That's an audition. They plan on doing it, but you can talk yourself out of that. If you don't, when I did Fox and Friends, I had the producer call me up, and she talked to me for over 30 minutes. You know how long I was actually on TV? Like 3. I mean, we talked about things that, there's no way all that stuff would have been on there. But for 30 minutes, she just sit there and drilled me and fired at me, and how would you answer this? And played the devil's advocate, and just went after me. It's like, okay, this sounds good. Sounds like it's going to be a great segment, And then I was on for 3 minutes. It felt like it was like that. It went over like that, So just remember, even once you get their attention and once you talk to them, it's not over. It's never over. You're always on. You're always on. Imagine your mic is always on. Imagine they're always being interviewed. You're always being touched. Speaking of my mic being on, I'm getting cued right now that my mic is not on. You can still hear me just fine. But I'll turn this on too. That's why I got a team. So that brand is important, and how you share those experiences are really important. The 5 C's of launching. I want you to think about this for a second here. The first C in launching is all about the concept. So you could be launching a business, you could be launching a book, you could be launching a website, you could be launching you could be launching an event. So first C is concept. What makes your business, book, event, whatever, what makes it different, what makes it special, what makes it unique? How is it different than most other people? It doesn't have to be totally different. I mean, matter of fact, I get kind of nervous when my clients are going into an entirely new thing that's never been done before. I mean, there should be kind of a market for it already. There should be kind of a proof of concept already. So are you going to be faster? Are you going to be cheaper? Are you going to give better quality? I mean, these are 3 things we look at. Okay? And every business does this, by the way. So speed, quality, price, right? You can have any 2 you want. You can try to be all 3, but really, you got to make your business on one or 2 of them. Taco Bell, what are they going? Speed, quality, price. Which one is it? Okay, every once in a while I have a few college students that say quality, but no, it's price. Walmart, what is it? Price. Now, one of my most favorite restaurants in the world, don't judge me, I am a meat eater, but is Fogo de Chao. It's Brazilian barbecue. It's the only 5-star all-you-can-eat place. You have a card on one, green on one side, it's a card, green on one side, red on the other. You flip it to green, they just keep bringing it to you, right? Flip it to red, they stop. And by the way, I always feel like I've lost when I flip it to red. I feel like a sense of it was a game and we were going for it, and somehow I feel kind of a little bit of shame. I feel like I let myself down. But it's amazing. They just bring over these huge skewers of meat and they just shave it off and they just keep coming back for more and more. They're not about the speed. They're not about the price. They're about the quality. Okay. So then there's some great things out there. So you got to decide, what do you want to be about? What experience do you want to create for people? Are you trying to be, and give me some examples of some companies you think that are more about quality, or maybe they're more about experience. Like that's their way of doing best. American Express, okay. Apple, okay, sure. Huh? Rolls-Royce, okay, great. So you got to decide, do you want to be the Rolls-Royce of your industry, right? Or do you want to be the Yugo of your industry? I apologize, anybody here has a Yugo. I apologize in more ways than one. But you got to decide, what do you want to be?
last time I used El Camino, and 2 people had an El Camino. Not right then currently, but they had an El Camino in the past, so I stopped using El Camino. But what do you want to be? You want to be the Rolls Royce? You want to be Yugo, the El Camino? What do you want to be? You kind of want to decide that, because that's also going to do with the kind of media you do. And it can be good to do media in the beginning that's almost anything, just to get out there, because you can show people clips. I've been on some crazy media. I'm trying to think of one of them. Cougar Chat Radio. I did Cougar Chat Radio. They wanted me on the show. They wanted me on the show, and I was telling one of our publicists, I'm like, guys, I don't care. Get me some press. I will talk to kindergartners. I will go on ridiculous radio shows. Get me some press, right? And she's like, well, Cougar Chat Radio has wanted you on for a while. I'm like, fine, I'll be on Cougar Chat Radio. Without even really thinking, I'm like, I'll be on Cougar Chat Radio. I don't even think they're around anymore. I think they went out of business. I think they closed up their show. So I did Cougar Chat Radio. There was 3 ladies. I think one of them didn't come in that night to be on the show. But yeah, so I did a radio, 2 women, Cougar Chat Radio. So guys, sometimes in the beginning, you do whatever. Be on anything. Prove to people that you just, that how can you handle. And sometimes if you can do the tough stuff and the weird stuff, it's kind of like, oh, they have a sense of humor and they can do other things. Yeah.
You had a specific strategy you used at one point, adopting or appointing a specific individual to be your publicist for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Yeah, we'll get to that. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So figure out the concept of what it's going to be. Then the next step is collection. You want to collect pictures. You want to collect bios. You want to collect videos. You want to collect testimonials. You want to collect endorsements. You want to collect information. Maybe you need to collect contacts. You want to collect, people that you want to reach out to. You've got to collect a lot of things, right? Now, once you've collected, now we go to the next C. Now we can create. Now we can create that website. Now we can create that book. Now we can create that event. Now we can create, whatever. Now we create. Now that we've created, we go to the 4th C. Now we can campaign. Now we can go out and tell the world, right? Now, I kind of went a little bit out of order with this Fox Affair because I didn't have a website yet, and I had a book, but it was an old book. But then we got the interview, so we're like, okay, let's just now let's create the book cover and let's create the website, right? So we did a little bit out of order. But if you can do it quickly, then it doesn't really matter. But then you campaign, you go tell the world. Then the 5th C is connection. You want to know how it went, did people like it, how is the website being received, how was the event received, is there a connection? Did you underpromise, did you overdeliver, and maybe you learn something and so you improve upon your concept, you collect more, you create more. But this is what I call the 5 C's of launching. Now, things always evolve and things always change. One of the things that I'm really proud about this is I came up with this in 2011, and it's held true for years now, and it's held true in different industries, with different product launches, with different people. I've always been able to take people through this. And some people get a little bit out of order. So, why am I telling you this right now? Anybody know why I'm telling you this right now? Because I know that we're here to talk about campaigning. We're here to talk about how you can go out and do yourself PR. But what I'm saying is, if you don't have a concept, if you don't have a brand, if you don't have an experience, if you haven't collected things, if you haven't created anything, okay, then you're probably not going to be as successful with campaigning. That makes sense, right? The more you have already going for you, probably the better off you're going to do. Guys, if you decide you want to do a book, what's the first thing you should do?
What's it going to be about?
Yep, that's good. That's good. Huh? Someone says, what's it going to be about? Someone says, design a book cover. What'd you say? Just start writing ideas. Talk to someone who's done it. Concept. Yeah. See if there's a market for it. The best answer out of all those answers is create a book cover. You will figure out if there's a market for it if you create the book cover. You will be able to figure out how much people like it. You can create a book cover and say, coming in 2015. You don't even have to say when. People know that books can take a long time. Just create the book cover. You can even change the book cover later. But just create a book cover.
Book covers change all the time. It's not a big deal. I create tons of book covers and put them out. I probably have created twice as many book covers as I've ever done books. Because if they don't go well and I get busy, then, I'll stick it off to the side and see if it kind of revitalizes or comes back to life later. Create a book cover. You can have up and coming book 2015 and put your book cover up on the website. You can go over there and say, hey, I got a book coming out. Put up the book cover. You can create a book cover for $100. You can create a book cover by yourself. You can have someone do it for you. Yeah.
Out of your books that you've created and worked with, has the most successful one been kind of copies of other popular books or
No.
series that are out there?
No. Most of my books are just good book covers. I would just consider them good book covers. I very rarely copy something else. It's kind of fun to do at certain times and certain places, but no. By the way, I believe it was Shakespeare who said this. All the world is a focus group and the men and women merely future fans. That was Shakespeare, right?
Yeah,
Pretty close. But yeah, that is how we judge things, is how people look at it, yeah.
Besides size,
Mhm.
book, is there something else on the cover that are there rules and guidelines?
Yeah, so one of the things in this image is I actually have a design that tells you in what order is the priority of the things that make up a good book. So like having a foreword, having a good image, having a good title, having a good tagline, having it well balanced. What's the feeling of it? It being not too busy. I think now would be a good time, be fun. I brought in Mel Cutler. He just wrote a book with my wife's publishing company. I wrote the foreword. I thought it turned out pretty good. But I thought he'd be a good person to talk to. Mel, will you come on up here? Let's give Mel a round of applause here. I'm going to put you in the hot seat. I don't know how hot it is, but I'll put you in the seat. No, I'll come over here like this. So, I thought it'd be good too, just you guys could ask Mel. Mel, is this your first book?
First book.
Okay, so first book, but you didn't really need a book really to be successful. You've already had kind of a certain amount of success. Why don't you tell a little bit about your background and success and what you do? And
Yeah, so I've been a serial entrepreneur for the last 11 years now. Tomorrow's my birthday, actually. I'll be 32. So lots of ups and downs, and I call myself a serial entrepreneur because I know how it's been many ups and downs, and I've had to eat cereal multiple times a day. And I moved back into my parents' house 3 different times, and I've lost $500,000 in one day. And
must have been a real estate deal.
It's yeah, and it almost sounds like I'm bragging about that. But this book.
Congratulations, work with Mel.
Yeah. But like David speaks of, it's important to have examples of what you want to do in life and also how not to do the things in life and repeat the same mistakes. So I've started up 6 different companies. 2 of them have hit over 7 figures in sales revenue. Every year now I'll buy a company or 2 that's doing over $500,000. We'll go in there and we'll fix up the marketing, fix up the sales, fire some people, put in the right people, and then we'll sell the company for 3 to 5 times the net revenue. And that's what I primarily do. And what has been an extension of my coaching, because I do take on 5 clients a year, I've realized the biggest impact, the biggest big boon that I can make on this world and in this planet is to do events. And so we do an event about 10 times a year called the Entrepreneur Revolution. And when David wrote the foreword in the book, which I was very...
So this is what I was getting ready to ask, is what was the thing that made you decide to write a book? And so and I think this is what you're getting into, is one of the biggest things that made you decide to write a book was it was for your events.
Yes.
So there's lots of different reasons to write a book, credibility, money, all these things.
Yeah.
But for you it was, hey, get more people into your event.
Yeah, that was the bottom line. So how many of you have read Tony Robbins' book, right? The Giant Within or Unlimited Power? That entire book, which is about this thick, is all about sending people to UPW, Unleash the Power Within. And the same thing with The Millionaire Mind. You guys read T. Harv Eker's book, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. So I thought to myself, well, those are very successful models, and I'd like to replicate that. So when I decided to write a book, I said, I'm not, I told myself, well, and this is probably definitely a limiting belief, but that I'm not a writer. I'm not going to sit there and write. I want the path of least resistance. I want to come out with a book because it leverages my credibility and my status, because we know everyone with a book is an expert, right? And so this entire book, I wanted to cram it with value. It's around 200 pages of just actionable things you can use, and throughout it are certain influential and persuasive components. When you read this book, you'll be like, oh my God, I have to go to the event. And it's already been happening. This book has come out a week.
So one of the things that that he did with the book is he put this in the back. So it's basically an invitation to an event. It's a free ticket. So this is one strategy. So again, I want to hammer this home here. If you're going to be your own publicist and you're going to promote yourself, know how to front load your materials with things. For example, one of the things that I did in this new book that we have coming out, Guerrilla Parenting, is I put statements in there that I knew would be very controversial, so that I could tell the producers, hey, so my publicist would say to the producer, hey, David says that he refuses to pay for his kid's college. And it says it in the book. Now I put it in the book so I could use that. Do you see what I'm saying? So just like he's sitting here and he's reverse engineering this, and he's saying, hey, I want to promote my events more, and so I'm going to reverse engineer this, and I know that I want them to come to the event, so I'm going to put this really cool certificate in here, this really cool free ticket in here to get them to the event. You with me on this? Okay, so there's a lot of things that you can do to put them in the book. Tony Robbins did a very good job, and that's one of the things he was saying. Anything else that you put into the book with the specific purpose of, it fit, but you did it more of because you knew it would help you later on in your business?
Yeah. Like if you look through this book, and there's boxes in here that are testimonials from students, right? There is, the last few pages of it is a letter that a student sent me saying how amazing the event was and how it changed his life. He brought his kids, it changed their life, made them more confident. At a young age now, they're realizing how to leverage their entrepreneur mind, make money on their own. And so I included that letter. And it says right here, thinking of coming to one of my events. Now, I was able to do that because I packed this book with a ton of value. And so people don't mind, and this is the response that I've gotten, they don't mind reading it and being like, wow, well, I got to come to the event. So can I give an example of how it's worked already?
Yeah.
So one of the ways that we fill up our events is through meetup.com. You guys have heard of meetup.com? So we run over 30 entrepreneur meetup groups on meetup.com. A lot of for those of you that know Meetup, it's kind of like a flaky type of
Chamber of Commerce?
It's kind of like it's people, they'll join like 10, 20 groups and then they'll never go to any. So there's people that they have good intentions, but they don't follow through. And that's obviously not everyone. But the thing is, what was interesting is there's a way to actually capture names and emails off of Meetup to generate your own list. Well, we sent out an email about the book. Now this book sells for $19.97, $20. Most people are not willing to go from, let's say, online to a 2-day event and pay $795 to go to it. Now some will, but some won't. But the book has been amazing because it's that bridge. So it's, hey, for $20, you can change your mind, change your life, grow your business right away. I mean, guaranteed. So a lady who was a lawyer got the book. She reads the book and she calls our office. And Kate sets up a time for me to chat with her. Well, after that chat, she said, well, I have to come to the event and experience it live. And then we got her signed up. So that's just one example of how it's worked right away. It's kind of that bridge.
Yeah. So talked about the What was the hardest thing about getting the book done? Talk a little bit about the experience of getting it done or getting it out. Kind of maybe some of the story of just how we came up with the cover or the name and ups, downs.
So
succinctly, but
yeah, I cheated. I have to admit, I did not write a word of this book, but what I did is I spoke the book into existence. So what I did is, how many of you run events? Or you want to run an event, or you're looking to do that. So your book basically is, I'd say, halfway done already.
Or even if you're a speaker. We got a lot of speakers in here, right? Yeah, a lot of you guys speakers.
So we ran a 2-day event. It was the Entrepreneur Revolution. And I audio recorded everything. I had it cleaned up. I sent it over to the Philippines to get it transcribed. It got transcribed. Then I sent it to my first editor, then my second editor, and then the best editor, which happened to be David's amazing and wonderful wife, Jill Fagan. This would not have been born into existence without her or David. Because what happened is, after a few edits, it finally was eligible to be in a book format. So that's how I cheated. Now we kind of hit a speed bump, because a big one. Because I went on to Amazon and I said, oh, the original title of this book was supposed to be The Entrepreneur Revolution.
Which is the name of your organization, the name of your event.
Which is the name of the event, which is the brand. And guess what? It was taken. Last year, somebody in England came out with a book called Entrepreneur Revolution, with a fist and everything. And I'm on the phone with David, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's going to be delayed. This book is going to be delayed yet again. And that next weekend, I had almost a 100-person event with one of the judges from Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington. Some of you guys might know him. So I wanted the book to be out by then. And I'm like, oh my God, is this going to happen? And I had my doubts. But after, we were on the phone maybe for an hour. And what David was genius at doing, and this is why we pay him the big bucks, is he asked some very, very amazing questions to elicit what the book is about, what are the core values, what would people actually buy? What will, when somebody reads it, will people spend money, invest money on a big boom in their business?
Yeah, so let me jump in on this part. So when you're coming up with a name for it, remember that people buy the result, not the process. People don't go out and say, oh, I'm really looking for a great diet. Not looking for the diet. They're looking to feel great and look good, and that's what they want. So you want to sell it. So one of the things that you can kind of do as a litmus test is, after you come up with a name or a pitch, and this can be a media pitch that you're PR-wise, it can be a book, it can be a company name, it can be an event name. Reverse engineer and just ask yourself, would people pay money for that? So Entrepreneur Revolution, would you pay money to be in the Entrepreneur Revolutions? Maybe, maybe not. The Big Boom, would you pay money to blow up barriers and ignite and all the, you wanted them to say yes. In my company, Icon Builder Media, we help you become an icon in your industry. Would you pay money to become an icon in your industry? Ask yourself those questions, whatever your business is about. Would you pay money for that? So when we're going through names and taglines and things like that, I want to make sure that those names and taglines and subtitles is something that somebody would pay a lot of money for. You with me? Okay. I know it's getting a little late in the afternoon, so I'm just making sure here. Okay, go.
One thing David taught me, and he's somebody that I love having, on speed dial, because he's just a genius at marketing, and he's willing to share his information. And one thing that he said was, because I was bummed out, I'm like, oh, we can't use the Entrepreneur Revolution in the title. But what he figured out, and I give him credit, he's in the acknowledgement, Jill's in there, and he kindly wrote the foreword to this book, which is all about the Entrepreneur Revolution era, the era that we're going through right now, that empowers each and every one of you. Once you apply the right skills, you can get the results you want. Well, the tagline of the book is how to ignite your life, how to blow up your barriers, and how to get explosive results in the entrepreneur revolution. Right? So some of you might get it, that it's linguistically, this is like a subliminal message, because people don't know about the event yet, right? Which is called the Entrepreneur Revolution. But this is presupposing that there's a revolution going on right now, starting off in your heads and then materializing out there, that this is how to succeed in it. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're gonna want to get this book. And I included cool things in the book, like little, like do-it-yourself kind of things to get people involved and, different charts and pictures and stuff. I like.
If your book is a how-to, it's great to end chapters with interactive things to do. A way to test themselves, self-test, self-analysis, and not even maybe just for yourself. One of my favorite books that I use when working with people is a book by John Maxwell, 17 Laws of Teamwork. And here at the very end of it, there's tests in it. And it's not really about me. It can be about my team. So it's saying, is your team this? Is your team that? Do you have this kind of person? Do you have that kind of person? So yes, putting something interactive in there very quickly ups the perception of value and also gives you other PR angles. Because then when you're pitching the media, you can talk about the types of things you're challenging people to do. So think about when you're creating content, either for a book or for an info product, for an event, whatever, what are you doing to interact with them? Interactivity is hugely important.
Totally. Yeah, that's what we did.
Let's talk about having a picture on your book. Okay? It's a big debate. Should you have a picture on your book? Should you have a picture on your website? Should you have a picture on your materials? What are your thoughts and feelings about that and whether or not you should have one? Yeah?
Talk about the entrepreneur's revolution, the visual revolution today. Everyone's all about the visual. So I think you can have a picture on your book, but it needs to be the right.
Mm-hmm. Here's the rule of thumb that I give people. Does it make your book more sellable, more believable? And let me give you a little rule of thumb about that. Does your picture build and reinforce what you're putting out there? With no goatee, even with a goatee, but with no goatee, I look like I'm 18, maybe 20, okay? Somebody the other day said, "No, you don't. You look like you're 40 years old." And I'm like, great, I'll take it. I'm at a point where I'm still, so the point is if I'm writing a book that's advice, does a young-looking person have wisdom? Is that typically what we associate with young people? No, it isn't. So somebody in the audience last time was like, "Oh, great, so you told me I should definitely have my picture on the cover. So what are you saying? I look really old? I look really old and wise?" Maybe. So Mel also, he can look kind of young too. So what I tell people is, you're writing a book on advice and you really want to do a picture on the back. But if you have a look of wisdom, not old or young, but just, you've accomplished some things. Rosalind Kahn is a great book. I wrote the foreword for Rosalind's book. Sorry, Rosalind. And if you get a chance to talk to her, a great book. And you want to talk about somebody who does self-PR and self-publicity and is her own publicist and just tears it up, she's just out making things happen. Okay? But she put her picture on the book. It works for her book. If you get a chance to go by there and see it, it works. You look at it and go, yeah, this is somebody I could definitely take some advice from. So just know that that's a big part of it. A lot of people out there that are there's speakers and marketers out there that are feeding egos. Yeah, put your picture on. You got to put your picture on, and they think people want to have their picture on, so they feed the ego. I'm not here to feed your ego. I'm here to tell you what's most likely going to give you success. What's most likely to give you success is just ask: is your picture going to help sell the book or not? Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. If it's advice, then you should look like you have some experience. If there's something specifically you do. Like Steve Jennings here in the back. Steve, raise your hand so people know who you are here. Steve Jennings. You guys are all some pretty bright people. You guys are all some pretty successful people. But one of the brightest, most successful, one of the most dedicated guys I know in this room is Steve Jennings. And if I was forced to only pick one person that you got the chance to get to know out of this event, I would tell you need to talk to Steve Jennings. And all the rest of you guys can be mad at me because I didn't say you. But Steve Jennings, like, he's a mentor's mentor. Like, I've had some great mentors in my life. J. Connor Levinson, Michael Lehman. Right now, nobody's probably mentoring more than Steve Jennings. You know, Steve Jennings is a silver medalist. You know, Steve Jennings is an excellent nutritionist. You know, Steve Jennings is a guy that they told he was never going to walk again. Taught himself to walk again. It took him 13 years. Before you know it, he becomes a silver medalist. Steve Jennings is an amazing, amazing guy. If he wanted to have his picture on the book, I'd say have it on the book. More importantly, he knows a lot about fitness, and he's very healthy, and he's very strong. So he could have his picture on the book, and it would be a great example of the things he teaches. If you're going to have a book about health, and you don't look healthy, you could even be healthy. Doesn't matter. If you don't look healthy, it's not going to help you. So you better be an example of whatever it is. You guys are with me on that? I really want to hammer this home because people bring me these book covers or they print them and then they're too late and the book's already out there and then, David, what do you think of my book cover? Well, what does it matter? You printed 1,000 of them. Who cares what I think about it? We got 1,000 books. We're going to do the best we can with whatever we have to work with, right? So this is really want to hammer this home. Make sure you get a good picture and image on that book. I got something else I want to share. Was there anything else you want to share about the inside of that book?
About the inside?
Inside, outside?
Well, I put a little picture of myself right here.
Yeah. No, and I think that's great. A little picture on the back of the book is great. I think that's great, yeah.
Just in the same respect of putting somebody on the cover, also it would be the same thing if your audience, for example, if I'm trying to talk to 20 and 30-year-olds and I'm in my 20s, putting my picture on there would be okay because
Absolutely.
my audience is.
Yeah, absolutely. You get it, yeah. Because remember, the question is, will it help you sell more books? It's designed for your audience. If your audience feels a stronger connection, then you're going to sell more books. Absolutely. Most all my books, I don't have any pictures on them. Now, my gray hair is filling in nicely. It's coming in pretty quick. There may be a day in the near future where you may see my picture on the cover of a book. I got a few other things for you. Don't go anywhere. So let me tell you one other thing that's really great to do with your book. Something that I did also. Do an about the author section in the end. Okay? About the author. And when you do about the author, put in a series of milestones. They should be they shouldn't be all good, they shouldn't be all bad. Just put in a series of milestones. They're not achievements, they're just milestones. They can be failures. They can be heartbreak. It can be loss. In this book here, it's probably about 15, 20 pages long, which again is not a lot because it's on this page. So it literally starts off with 1976. I'm born, right? 1976, and then it just goes through it. A few things when I'm a kid, a few things when I'm a teenager, stuff when I'm 20s, getting married, when my kids are born, you know, when I lost everything in 2007, you know, I had to start over, you know. But I tell people, what I do when I give them the book is I'll say, go to the end. I'll put a bookmark in it for most people. Sometimes I'll put it in a different chapter. But most of the time I'll put it in the end. I'll say, read the about the author first. In PR and press, I've had people in the media comment more on my about the author section than the book. They said I love your about the author section. They said I would have rather read a book about your life. Now, not everybody says that, but that's a good sign if they say that, right? You were going to say something?
The first thing I read when I pick up a book is about the author.
Is about the author.
Writing it. I wonder what it-
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a great story too. I can see you putting in your about the author section in there also. Of course, you put a lot of your life in there, but you put that in the back. It's really easy. Make it really easy to read. So the point is like 1970, just one or two sentences, one sentence, two sentences, one. I mean, it should just be so easy to go through. You know, you're not there to bore them to tears with every, you know. As you get into more key moments in your life, it could be a couple paragraphs, you know, to really explain it and do justice, you know, to certain things. The second edition's getting ready to come out. So now I'll have to update the about the author section because in the last 2 years we had even more things in there. But if you do that about the author section, it'll help you so much with doing your own PR and being your own publicist of showing people that because it'll have all those things in there. And I can also help you strategically figure out, what some of those things are, and read mine, and you can see, some of those things. What are the big moments? You graduated, you started a business failed, you had a kid, whatever those major things are, right? Someone stole a bunch of money from you, whatever. You went to a foreign land.
Went to a David Fagan event.
Went to a David Fagan event, changed your life. It was life-changing. The only other thing that I want to hammer home is making sure that there's an image on the cover. Never go with just words. So on mine, there's a little bit of images of like the matrix code numbers through there. On his, he's got the revolution fist on there. Whatever it is, I really tried to tell you to go with an image. I mean, this is a very professional book cover. There's no image on it. So you can break some of these rules. Guerrilla marking, there is no image on it. But really, try to come up with something that's an image that evokes emotions. So if you want to talk to Mel or talk about some of his events or some of the things he has going on, he'll be around for a little while. But thanks, Mel. Appreciate you coming up here. Yeah. He also brought some books with him, too. So if you stick around afterwards, you want to get a book from him, have him sign it or something. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Only if it's special. And I'm going to decide if it's special.
It's
Go
really
ahead.
special. So obviously, all of you can go to Amazon and get the book. $20 there. But I wanted to do something really special for you guys, being part of David's community. I brought 25 freshly printed books. They're right off the press. If you're interested in discovering the 7 biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make that keep them broke, if you're also interested in the 4 steps of the entrepreneur evolution, how to go from solopreneur to business entrepreneur to then finally entrepreneur investor, how to do that, it's all in here. Everything. It's powerful. So what I'm going to do for you guys is something really neat. It's just because David has helped me so much, and so has Jill, and our whole family is amazing, is I have 25 of them. It's not enough for everybody, but you guys will get a free book.
Okay.
Free book. My gift. Now, hold on. I appreciate that. We have a nonprofit charity that we support right here in LA called Nifty. And they support inner city youth that trains their teachers to teach the underprivileged kids entrepreneur skills. So if you want to donate $20, you'll get the book. I mean, it's free, so you don't have to. But if you want to make a donation, we'll accept your donation. 100% of it goes to Nifty. And when you do that, I'll also give you a scholarship ticket, which is valued at $795, to come to our next event in November in Orange County, which is the 2-day experience of this book. Okay? Wow. So it's just something special. Sweet. And if you can't make it in November, you can come whenever. Okay. Is that cool? Yeah. So just when we do a break, just go see Kate and she'll take care of you.
Real quick, Lori, I got to move on. Go ahead.
It's a not-to-miss event. These 2 people are heart-centered, loving, over-deliver, and are really passionate about helping entrepreneurs with everything they offer.
You're talking about Mel and his wife?
Mel and his wife.
Yeah.
My new wife.
Yeah. Great, thank you, Mel.
All right.
Appreciate it. Does this help, by the way, to see like real scenarios and why they did it and how they did it, and then me tying it back to how it helps with publicity and things like this? There's a lot of other things, but if you're really thinking, you can connect on a lot of different things. So anyways, I'm gonna do one more. Emily, Dr. Emily Letran, will you come on up? Dr. Emily Letran's a little bit like my wife. Like she's a good speaker, and she'll come up if I really twist her arm, but it's not her most favorite thing in the entire world. What's your most favorite thing in the entire world? Giving someone a root canal?
No. Just selling the treatment.
Just selling the treatment. Okay. You want to have the hot seat?
Sure.
Make you taller? Are your feet gonna dangle? It's okay. My feet dangle too. We have a gift for Dr. Emily Letran. Yeah, we do. Dr. Emily Letran has never seen her books before. She's never seen them. So they've been printed and they've been shipped, and we actually have them here for you. Are you ready to see your book for the first time?
Sure.
Okay.
Do they look like what you sent me?
They look like what he sent you? I don't know. We'll see. Jill, will you grab some of those books and bring them up to her? So how long have you been wanting to do a book?
Well, for about a year and a half.
About a year and a half? Okay. And what made you want to do a book?
Actually, I belong to a mastermind group with Greg Verleen in Pasadena, and he and his friend Scott Evans put together a storytelling boot camp, which I signed up to go to. There was me, which was the only female, and about 7 or 8 gentlemen. Donnie Nix was one of them in the room. So they just asked us to tell our story, and when I got up to the front and started telling my story, all the men started praying. So they told me that I really need to write about my story to inspire people, and that's what started it.
Yeah.
And then I met David and Joe Fagan, and they helped me through this journey of writing the book.
And one of the reasons why I wanted to explain it to you is because a lot of times we focus on books and business and everything else, but books can also just kind of be a bucket list kind of thing. You know, a book is for our kids. A book is a part of our legacy. You know, a book is a part of our own journey and story. A book is a part of just giving back. And Dr. Emily Tran is just one of those people. I mean, she's got several different offices. She's extremely successful. She's probably one of the most humble people, you know, you'll ever meet. That's why I got to say this instead of her. But the point is it wasn't to set out to do a bestseller. Sometimes we're talking about people about, you know, how to never sell one book at all and make tons of money. You know, because a book can really do that. It's not about selling a lot of books. It's about what you can do with just having a book. So think about that. So I'm going to show this book here in a second. Can you guys go ahead and come back over and have a seat? I don't want this to be a distraction here, and I've got other people and stuff. So let's just wait till a break on that. I know there's a limited number of those, but so here we go. Here's your book. I'm going to show it to them too. So here's the book, From Refugee to Renaissance Woman. You can kind of pass that. Let you guys pass that around. Let you pass that around. Let you pass that around. So a book can be very simple. This is a pocket-sized book. It's very easy to read. By the way, how do you like the cover? Like, even if you just saw the cover, right? So, From Refugee to Renaissance Woman, but then Hard Work, Humility, and the American Dream. Dr. Emily Letran, and she's got some great stuff on the back of the book here. Is that about how you envisioned it? It's kind of hard sometimes until you actually see it. Are you happy to actually have it in your hands?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's great. What do you think the best experience or best story is in there? What do you think people are going to find the most interesting or most surprised to read about when they get into that book?
That's a difficult question.
It is. That's my job.
I think sometimes when you pick up a book, you have certain expectations. If you read my story, I think you're going to find that life can throw a lot of hardballs and curveballs at you. Even when you've been through a lot, more crap happens.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you have faith and the mindset and a sense of gratitude, I think you're going to get through everything. So when you pick up the book, you may think that, oh, it's a story of a dentist. But
it's not.
If you read it, it's a story of a woman growing up of a professional and a mother.
So how are you going to use this book? How are you going to use it? How are you going to share it, or tell people about it, or give it? How are you going to give it to people? Or?
Well, you know, I wrote this book really to be an inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the book, it says that I hope the story will inspire people to write their own story. I think everybody have a story in himself or herself, and you should get it out, let other people know. I plan to give this to my patients, especially the ones who think that I'm rich and I have everything.
Think you have the perfect life, right? People think, oh, he must have such an easy life, and so you're going to show,
And I want to share it with anybody who care to share a good and inspiring story, because I think especially in this day and age, a lot of people have the entitlement mentality. They just want things to come to them easy. And I believe in hard work and integrity. And in this country, you can achieve that if you give yourself the right support, which could be hanging around with people like David. It could be getting a coach, getting the support from your family, because really we have a very strong will if we would just rely on our will and not just give in to what the media or what other people tell us.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming up here and stuff. So Emily will be around for a little while too, and if you want to get one of her books or talk to her, I mean, she's got some great stories. She's very successful in business, and if you get the chance to pick her brain, I would definitely recommend it. You can hang out for just a little bit? Sure. Okay, good. Thank you. So hopefully that just kind of gives you guys a sense of, you know, what it's like and going through. I mean, some of you guys already have books, some of you guys are working on it, some of you want to do your next book bigger or better. But again, I'm always just keep tying it back into how is it going to help you get more publicity? Because getting that more publicity is really important.
And that's why we're here, right? How do you get more press? People know that if they get press, they get the exposure. Well, let me go about a different way. Things that I'm gonna do for you guys. Well, what time is it? 4:30. 4:30. Okay, so we're gonna take a break here in a little bit, but I want to give you
guys a couple different things here. I want to give you guys a couple different options here. I've told you guys about the way we do PR. When people hire us, how do we do PR for them? I told you about how we do a regional, how we do a national, how we do global, you know, all these different things like that. I told you about that. But we also have something else where we support people in doing PR. We give them the tools. We actually have a membership program where we will give people PR contacts, we'll review pitches, we give ongoing webinars. How many people here would just like to have a list of all the bookstores in California that they could go around and do a book signing at? Would that be cool? How many people here would just like to have a list of the radio shows, you know, that I like to interview entrepreneurs? Just a list of it. How valuable would that be if you just had a list of those people? You're going to call them yourself, but I provide you for a list. Right? Okay, we have stuff like this. So we've been developing a program, it's been kind of a pilot program, and we're just starting to release it to more people, where people join a certain membership, they pay a small monthly fee, and then we give them access to the things that my publicists have access to. But you are the publicist. You're going to go bug people. You're going to go talk to people. You know, I tell, you know, my publicist will say, David, how far should I go? I've already emailed them. I've already called them. I've already texted them. You know what my answer is? Just this short of a restraining order. Like when they threaten, like not even they threaten really a restraining order, but like you know it's coming. Like you know it's close. Okay? Like that's kind of how far you have to go. Now, why don't I just go out and give everybody all the contacts that I have?
They wouldn't appreciate it.
Yeah, they would. Are you kidding? Yeah, you think my contacts would like that very much? Right? No. So why? You guys might think, well, David's kind of seeming a little repetitive, and he's really drilling some of the stuff in. Guys, why am I drilling stuff in? Because for the people that might get into one of these programs where maybe they can't afford us to do PR for them, but they would like the information and some of the help, and they're going to go do it themselves. If I'm going to do that and help you, I want to make sure that you're approaching these people the right way and that you're having a certain amount, of success. How many people are just curious in general how much something like that would cost? Be a part of a program, have access to contacts, information. Okay, just curious. Lots of things we can talk about, so it just helps me know, what gets you guys more interested than maybe others. So I'll share that with you a little later, but we've got a really cool program, that does that. I want to talk about social PR first, social media. Social media, as a lot of you guys know, is probably the fastest growing area in a lot of things. But when it comes to PR, we even have something called social PR, just because social media is so big. Because what is PR all about? It's about getting a lot of exposure. Well, there's a lot of groups and pages that get a lot of traffic. And so if you can get exposure on them, it's great. How many people here know that I have a group called Best Reads on Facebook? Yeah, I have a group on Facebook called Best Reads. I have over 7,000 people in that group. And so we use that to promote a lot of the authors we work with. And then I also let other authors in, and they can promote their books and things like that in there. Who do you think gets probably the most exposure in my groups? My clients, right? So, but we have some great groups. But PR can be huge. How many people have seen all these different posters we do and the strategy of these posters, right? We do a lot of these things. There's a real art to creating, posters, ads, things like that. I wish we had more time to go over that. Some of you guys have been to, 2 or 3 day events where we talk about how to design these and how to post them and how to tag and how to link and how not to go too far and how to involve and how to create buzz and how to get some of those things to go viral. Some of that stuff can be really huge. This is, you're not going to be able to probably see this here. Can you see this? This is the biggest problem with social media right here. May your life someday be as awesome as you pretend it is on Facebook. This is the biggest problem with social media is people only do good stuff. Or they only do bad stuff, and they're not really representing who it is and or who they're looking for, or who they are, or what they're trying to accomplish. So this gets to be a real art of how you create things and how you do things and how you share things. And matter of fact, my teenagers, they actually have a business where this is one of the things that they do is they do what's called social media mining. And in social media mining, they make these posters, they do these posts, and they put them up for people. And I'm going to show you guys kind of an example of this. Well, that was anticlimactic. So I'm not trying to. This isn't me trying to sell this. This is something that my kids, and you can't even really see this, but I want to show you a couple things at once. One, grids are amazing. Again, earlier we talked about making complex things simple. Okay, making complex things simple. When you're pitching things to people, if you can put things into a grid or an easy to read visual, it really helps. So you're not even going to be able to see this right now, but I'm going to give you a website, hireateentoday.com. If you're curious about this, hireateentoday.com. Teen, T-E-E-N. like a teenager, hireateentoday.com. And so one of the things that we have teenagers doing is they're virtual assistants, okay? And they're doing PowerPoints, they're doing social media mining, they're doing transcription. So they'll get on here and they'll make posters, they'll post those posters, they'll tag people, they'll hashtag, they'll create groups, they'll add people, they'll invite people, they'll boost posts, they'll do all these things, okay? So you might want to take a look at that just so you can learn, even if you're gonna do it yourself, all this stuff is about doing it yourself, but I want you to learn the right way to do it. And I'm showing you this with teenagers. Why do you think I'm showing you what teenagers are doing? Huh? Yeah, there's one more thing. What? If they can do it, there it is. If they can do it. Guys, if a 14-year-old can do this, if a 15-year-old can do it, you can do this. That's how easy it is. Some of this stuff has become so simple, the teenagers are doing this. Okay? Now, if you don't want to do it, your time may be too valuable for all this. So if you don't want to do it, that's an entirely different thing. But that's how simple it is. So I want you to go to that site, look at what they're doing. There's examples of these posters. A lot of you guys, if you follow me on Facebook, you see a lot of the posters and things that we do out there. We've really built a pretty good movement on there. By the way, everybody that is here, there might be an exception, but everybody that is here is a friend of mine on Facebook, and you were invited through Facebook to be here. True? Anybody that's an exception? There's got to be at least one that's an exception to that rule. Bill, okay, so Stephen Memel met you at an event, and you came because of him. Right, but Stephen Memel is a friend on Facebook. Yeah. Who else? You came because of her, and how did you learn about it? Facebook, right? Facebook, yeah, Facebook. You heard about it from Dave, but Dave heard about it from Facebook, right? So this is just Facebook. This is just Facebook. So like Mel uses meetups sometimes. Some people use LinkedIn more. We use a lot of different things. But a lot of this is just Facebook. So most of you are in here in less than 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours, just through Facebook of me talking. So most of you guys follow me on there. So can you create value on there? Now, another reason why I'm teaching you a little bit about social media is because social media has a news cycle. The news has a news cycle. Social media has a news cycle. What is a news cycle? Can someone give me an example like what a news cycle is? What does that mean when I say that?
How long a story persists in the mind.
How long a story persists. And is every story the same? No. What's something that's been in the news just a lot? Robin Williams, right? There's been a lot of other, and it really does seem like a lot of other actresses and actors that have recently died. Right? Tell me some other people that have recently passed away. Richard Attenborough, yeah. What? Lauren Bacall, yep. So anyways, there's probably been 4 or 5 of them. None of them are getting more talk time than Robin Williams, so some of them have more than others. Okay, so the reason why I tell you this is because your posts are the same way. And one of the most common mistakes that people make is they post too much too fast. The longer something stays there, and the more people that comment on it, and the more people that share it, and the more people that like it, it pushes it up higher and higher and more frequently in the news feeds. So you might post something and get 10 likes, and 20 minutes later you're posting something else and it gets 10 likes, and an hour later you post, if you post something, let it go for a while. You can kind of start to see how it'll trend. If I post something and I get 15 or 20 likes with less than an hour, then I'm not going to mess with it. It's got legs, it's relevant, and so I'll just let it go for a while. Not because it's going to like revolutionize my business, but just because I want to do it justice, right? So when I posted that I was on Fox and Friends, obviously I didn't post anything else that whole day. Nothing. I had people tagging me on things, and was I going to accept it to put on my wall? I wasn't going to accept anything else. I just had that up. And I had 200 likes, 100 comments, whatever. For me also, I'm not entirely sure why, but when my kids have a birthday, we do breakfast in bed, I take a picture, I put it up there. Everybody always does a lot of likes and comments. So if I didn't want that to get as much attention, I could start posting other things, and it would drown it out. So yesterday, my oldest daughter turned 17. And I'd put that up. And I think I had like 120 or 130 likes, 6, 7, 8 hours or whatever. So I didn't post, a lot of other things. Why am I telling you this again? Because to get more exposure, right? Would you make more money if you were more influential? Would you make more money if you were more credible? Would you make more money if you got more exposure? How do you get more exposure? How do you get people to notice? By the way, the media, if they're thinking about interviewing you, they'll check, they might just like to check out your website, they might check out your social media. Why? When you get Googled, what's some of the most popular things that comes up in Google? Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, these accounts that you have, right? So if they go there and you make if you make a post and one person clicks like, now that again, you might be so great at other things that those things may not matter at all. But what am I always teaching? I'm teaching about playing the odds. There's no silver bullets in marketing. So how do we put all the odds in our favor? How we put all the odds in our favor is we always post with an image. We always, tag the appropriate people. We always give it a certain amount of time, like it's a news cycle, right? We want to have good posts. We want them to get a certain amount of shares, certain amount of likes, certain amount of comments. That's a good thing. I was talking to Daniel Green earlier, who writes these great articles, and he was posting the whole article on Facebook. And I was saying, just post the first part, put up an image. There's no image. Put up an image, because that catches the eye more. Then, if they want to read the whole thing, have it take them to your website. I have lots of things that are directing to my website. Almost every poster I make has my website on it, davidtfagan.com or iconbuildermedia.com. So if people are sharing it, what's happening? My website's going viral. The more my images get out there, the more my posters get out there, the more my mind maps get out there, it's all going viral because my website's on every single one of those things. And so if they want to see more things like that, where do they go? They go to my website. So this creates traffic, this creates things. So again, journalists, producers, these are all just really little things to put the odds more in your favor. More in your favor. We're going to take a break in a second. You guys are looking tired. I want you to stand up for a second here. Just stand up. I'm not going to make you massage anybody or anything.